In this presentation, I address the phenomenon of prosthetics in music to outline aesthetic and phenomenological facets of a more than human music making. I focus on a vast and uninterrupted discourse generated by this game of mirrors, the rhizomatic interconnectedness of techne, music, art, and the human body. I begin by reconsidering the ostensible emergence of prosthetics and the creative machines in the contemporary historiography of art, rerouting and repositioning the existence of these apparatuses into the stream of technological dependencies that leads back to the earliest periods of human civilization. Here, French philosopher Gilbert Simondon comes to my aid, observing that the distinction between culture and what he calls technical objects is fictitious. He maintains that the existence of techne has always been part of and reason for cultural development. Moreover, as noted by American scholar Donna Haraway, the first kindling of culture coincides with the appearance of the earliest tool crafted by human beings. Following their line of thought, I maintain that we have always been more than human, to paraphrase Bruno Latour's seminal essay. Technological prosthetics have always been a part of art and music making. Ever since the appearance of the very first musical instruments, a plethora of technological devices have developed over centuries, leading to today's myriad technological enhancements in hardware and software dedicated to art making. I point my magnifying glass at selected features of collaborative hybridizations between humans and machines in contemporary art. My phenomenological inquiry involves a qualitative content analysis of works from artists selected for their contribution to the fields of more than human and cybernetically enhanced organisms. Their inclusion relates to two factors: the acceleration of hardware and software development beginning in the early 70s, which spurred artistic experimentations, and the roughly concurrent popularization in film and popular culture of fears and anxieties about the hybridization of human beings and machines. As Latour points out in We Have Never Been Modern, nature and society are inseparably mixed. By paying homage to his title, I acknowledge that the relation between modernity and technology is similarly complex. I begin my inspection of dystopian narratives of the human-machine relationship with Shinya Tsukamoto's 1989 film, Tetsuo the Iron Man. I then proceed to a series of experiments in body modification performance art, Stellar's Body's Prosthetics, and the bio-art of Marion Laval-Gentet. I conclude with consideration of Alvin Lucier composerly experiments in psychoacoustics, particularly his Music for Solo Performer from 1965. To review how technology was perceived in popular culture, I begin with a film that directly confronts the hybridization of human body and machines and metal parts. Such technology is then realized by the performance artists who to varying degrees alter the human body with permanent or semi-permanent physical modifications. Lastly, moving away altogether from human flesh, metaphorically and physically, I delve into perceptual aspect technology in the work of American composer Alvin Lucier. The journey can be summarized as from outside to inside to the in-between, with the final stage representing a liminal space between the first and the two. The transformation of human into cyborgs is palpable in Tsukamoto Tetsuo the Iron Man. The Japanese film depicts the apocalyptic tale of two antagonists who are slowly mutating into metal parts, with iron and steel swallowing their bodies limb by limb. In the climactic final confrontation of the two protagonists, they become an amorphous metal mass that metamorphosize and metabolize the whole of planet Earth into a conglomeration of metal. The body of flesh and bones mutates into assorted metal parts in an erotic epiphany of self-annihilation. As the characters undergo their transformation, the surrounding cities fade away at an ever-increasing pace. The cinematography of Tsukamoto alludes to the metamorphosis of humans into cyborgs, machines characterized by enhanced speed and increased mobility. Technological advancements and speed collide in a dystopian scenario. But in Japan of the late 80s, Tetsuo the Iron Man, negotiation of the relationship between humans and technology appears dimly optimistic, nuanced, ambiguous. Today's increased dependencies on technological gadgets has drastically reduced the level of ambiguity. Any doubts of technological necessity has been made redundant by their constant presence in everyday life. How technology is depicted cannot be separated from forces that drive contemporary society. Increasing speed, relentless acceleration, implied or forced mobility. I will revisit this later in the presentation. Leaving the film behind, I approached the prosthetic of Stellar's artistic practice and Laval-Jeantet bioart. What followed is a brief examination of a selected work of this artist within their respective area of interest. The order of this examination follows an internal logic of body reconnaissance, starting from the surface, proceeding to penetrate the skin, and lastly mutating the biology inside. My primary focus remained on the relationship between technology, the human body as prosthetic device, and the impact of machines, speed, and automation on artistic practice of the 20th and 21st centuries. Stellar's early work is most prosthetic, defined ephemeral accessories to the body, elongations, protuberances, magnifications made of metal parts, an exoskeleton of technological mechanisms maneuvered by the human body, by Stellar himself. In Stellar's early third-hand project, 1998, the body, or part of it, is not replaced yet. It is extended and altered with the addition of a robot hand. Stellar's research into body intensification spawns further artistic investigation in Exoskeleton, 1998, and the Extended Arm, 2000. In this work, the artist seems to question the presence of the human body and its relationship to emerging forms of non-human manifestations. Notice how his concern evolved over the years. In the Exoskeleton Project, 1998, Stellar himself is strapped at the center of the bulky machine, an almost 600-kilogram complex mechanism moved by spider-like protuberances, and the artist prompts the robot's movement by a magnetic sensor wrapped around his own arms. The Walking Head Robot 2006 is a 6-legged robot with an ultrasound sensor for detecting obstacles in space. A rotating LCD screen is mounted on its center like a computer-generated human head. Here the real human has been replaced by the digital human head. With Stickman 2017 and 2020 versions, the human body has become controlled by the stick robot strapped to it. Movements are actuated by algorithm or remotely by visitors to the installation space. The human body has become ingrained into the machine, bound to it. The docile stickmen follow machine-generated prompt or invisible puppeteers. At last, the human body has been replaced. By implication, escalating speed correlated with technological development. In Exoskeleton, it is the pace of the human body that governs the speed of the machine. In Stickman, it is the speed of the algorithm that determines the rhythm of the human body. An observation. The two scales of speed, human and electronic, are fundamentally different. The perception of time elicited by a human heart beating and an electronic clock pulse are barely comparable, if not completely unrelated. The very fact that cybernetic assemblage is a concern or a desire seems almost paradoxical in light of this observation. In recent years, Stellar has moved in the direction of Laval-Jeantet explorations. In Stellar's third-year project 208, a cell-grown ear is surgically attached to the artist's left arm. I leave him at this point to have a closer look at the work of the French bio-artist. Laval-Jeantet art modifies the givens of human biology. In 2011, during a 1-hour performance, she takes in a transfusion of equine blood plasma. Injecting herself over a period of several months with horse immunoglobulins, she prepared her body to receive the horse plasma. By crossbreeding species, the artist blurs long-established boundaries of animal realms, defying biological archetypes and taboo and pushing phenomenological experiences. Laval-Jeantet's emetic exchange seems to allude to a never-ending proliferation of hybridizations. The mythological centaur, werewolf, sphinx, and the Nura Onna. The biological liger, mule, zonkey, and the kunga. only a few of the many existing envisaged genetic encounters between species. Stepping back from bodily and species hybridizations, I encounter American composer Alvin Lucier and his music for solo performer composed in 1965. The work uses alpha waves emitted by the human brain to send low frequencies vibration to a series of loudspeakers positioned in front of musical instruments such as gongs, bass drums, timpani, etc. The loudspeaker frequency output allows the musical instrument to vibrate and produce sounds. In the premiere of the work, Lucier himself wore headgear made of silver electrodes. The latter were connected to a system designed to amplify the brain's alpha wave and send this to a mixer with the purpose of routing the electrical signal to chosen loudspeakers, creating spatialization of the incoming sound frequencies. Music for solo performer could be considered the first live electronic performance. By using brain waves to induce sound vibration from selected musical instrument, the work translated human electric signal into music output. Relevant aspects emerging from Lucier's work helped me recollect thoughts from the opening of this presentation, such as the modern and postmodern obsession with technologies enhancing speed and acceleration. And this propelled me to the conclusion of a phenomenological voyage into the theme of prosthetic in music and contemporary arts. In music for solo performer, the hardware, cables, mixer, loudspeakers, and perhaps the music instruments themselves is a conduit or communicating vessel for the alpha waves emitted by Lucier's brain. It is the human body that determines the pace and the length of the event. The speed of the brain waves put in motion a series of events that finally elicits acoustic vibration from the musical instruments, creating sounds. In today's version of electronic music, the machine is the brain, governing with its own electronic waves, and the human being has become the accessory or prosthetic extension. The speed at which a machine can generate musical material far surpasses the imaginable range and the limits of human body speed and endurance. In Stellar Stickman, the machine algorithm speed induced force movement on the human body straps into the metallic structure. Similarly, Lavoisier Tate hybridization of human and horse accelerate the process by bypassing biological temporality, achieving in a span of months the genetic development which would have required millennia or ions if it would happen at all. What I'm attempting to is a perceived shift where humans are no longer at the center of decision-making about how to use the machine. Rather, in the last 3 decades, machines are making decisions that redefine the life of human beings. Perhaps I exaggerate for effect, a condition nonetheless now seems ever present in media, popular culture, academia, and business. While the scope of this paper prevents me from providing further examples of this aspect of technology, it is important to at least acknowledge its presence. I conclude my incursion into the matter of technological prosthetics in music contemporary art on a lighter note to avoid the demonology of technology in Donna Haraway's words. So let me quote in full a passage from John Cage's History of Experimental Music in the United States, part of Silence, Lectures and Writing, date 1959. Sri Ramakrishna was once asked, "Why, if his God is good, is there evil in the world?" He said, "In order to thicken the plot." Nowadays, in the field of music, we often hear that everything is possible. For instance, that with electronic means, one may employ any sounds, any frequencies, any amplitude, any timbre, any duration, that there are no limits to possibility. Clearly, Cage was right in a different time when electronics was seen as a terrain of unlimited possibilities and experimentations. I believe that in today's artistic landscape such potential and room for experiment still exists. Technology can be a place for unexpected discoveries rather than preset, pre-digested formulas. By acknowledging the existence of a human body before the machine, we can rediscover the pleasure of slowing down, of becoming lost in playful experiential conundrums, bypassing predefined options. By looking at things from a different perspective, we recognize that technological prosthetics have always been and will continue to be present. It is up to us to determine their function in art and in everyday life. Probably technology exists to thicken the plot.